On this day in Tudor history, the 22nd of August 1545, one of the most colourful and controversial figures of Henry VIII's reign died. He was a jousting champion, a soldier, a duke, the king's closest friend, and the man who dared to secretly marry Henry's sister. I'm historian and author Claire Ridgway, and I'm talking about Charles Brandon, Duke of Suffolk, a man whose charm, nerve and loyalty kept him at the top of one of the most dangerous courts in history for nearly 4 decades. Charles Brandon was born around 1484, the only surviving son of Sir William Brandon and Elizabeth Broyne. His father was no ordinary knight. He was Henry VII's standard bearer at the Battle of Bosworth and was killed in the thick of the fight, reportedly by Richard III himself. That act of loyalty to the new Tudor king paved the way for Charles's own rise. Henry VII saw to it that William's son was brought up at court. Brandon may have spent part of his youth in the household of his influential uncle Sir Thomas Brandon, one of Henry VII's leading courtiers. From early on, Charles was immersed in royal service, jousting, serving at table and moving in the elite circle of young men who entertained Prince Henry, the future Henry VIII. Unlike most of Henry VIII's favourites, Brandon wasn't the king's exact contemporary. He was about 7 years older. But their shared love of sport, pageantry and martial display forged a friendship that would last until Brandon's death. By 1509, he was one of the stars of the coronation tournaments, appearing in dazzling gilt armour and increasingly in matching costume with the king himself at court revels. But Brandon's personal life could be, well, complicated. In 1505, he was betrothed to Anne Brown, daughter of Sir Anthony Brown. They consummated their betrothal, making it a valid marriage in the eyes of the church, and Anne gave birth to their first daughter. But Brandon then married Anne's wealthy widowed aunt, Margaret Neville, in a union that was soon annulled. He returned to Anne, married her publicly, and had another daughter, but Anne died in 1512. This tangled marital history would later cause gossip, and it certainly didn't prepare anyone for the audacity of Brandon's next match. In 1514, Henry's younger sister Mary Tudor was married off to the elderly King Louis XII of France. Before she left, Henry reportedly promised that if Louis died, Mary could choose her next husband. And Louis did die after just 82 days of marriage, and Charles Brandon was sent to bring Mary home. The two married secretly in Paris in February 1515 without the king's permission. Henry's fury was real. Suffolk had broken his word and married into the royal family without royal consent. A dangerous gamble. The couple had to pay a hefty price, surrendering jewels, plate, part of Mary's dowry, and agreeing to £24,000, a fortune at the time, from the profits of Mary's dower lands in France. But Henry's affection for both soon won out, and the marriage was formally celebrated officially at Greenwich in May 1515. Brandon's career thrived. He was already Master of the Horse, and in 1514 he was created Duke of Suffolk, one of the highest honours in the realm. He was no stranger to war. At the Siege of Tournai in 1513, his assault on one of the gates had helped secure the city's surrender, and in 1523 he led a major, if ultimately unsuccessful, march deep into France, reaching within striking distance of Paris. He also played key roles in domestic governance, especially in East Anglia and later Lincolnshire, where he built up huge estates after being ordered to move there following the 1536 Lincolnshire Rising, which of course sparked off the Pilgrimage of Grace. Despite occasional political setbacks, and Brandon was never the schemer Wolsey or Cromwell were, Suffolk was central to major events. He was involved in Henry VIII's great matter, delivering the king's order to Catherine of Aragon that she was no longer queen, a task he reportedly disliked. He attended the trial and execution of Anne Boleyn. He helped suppress the Pilgrimage of Grace rebellion and was one of those who met Anne of Cleves on her arrival in England in 1539 and helped negotiate her divorce the following year. Mary Tudor died in 1533, and later that year, Suffolk married again, his fourth wife being Catherine Willoughby, the 14-year-old heiress who'd been betrothed to his son. This ensured the vast Willoughby estates stayed in the Brandon family. In his later years, Suffolk remained active in Henry's wars. In 1544, at about 60 years of age, he commanded the king's forces during the siege of Boleyn, leading the English entry into the captured town. But by 1545, his health was failing. But he was still preparing to command forces for the relief of Boleyn when he died suddenly at Guildford on the 22nd of August. Henry VIII ordered that he be buried at St George's Chapel, Windsor, a mark of their enduring friendship. Charles Brandon was, in many ways, the ultimate Tudor court survivor. He wasn't a master politician or a policy maker, but his loyalty, charm, and usefulness to the king ensured his survival through his secret marriage to the king's favourite sister and the falls of Wolsey, Anne Boleyn, Cromwell, and countless others. His marriage to Mary Tudor produced Frances Brandon, mother of Lady Jane Grey, linking him directly to one of the most tragic episodes of Tudor history. But why did Brandon endure so long at the centre of power? Well, simple. The king never really lost trust in him, or if he did, it was very temporary. Had you heard of Charles Brandon before today? Do let me know in the comments what you think of his mix of daring, charm, and political luck. Oh, and if you were interested in his rather scandalous love life, I've done a whole video on that, and I'll share a link to it in the description. If you've enjoyed this deep dive, please do like the video so more history lovers can find it, and subscribe for more Tudor tales. And if you'd like to join my Tudor court for bonus content, magazines and live chats, click the join button on my YouTube channel. I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.